Hello, ShortVol Nation. This is your host, David Lincoln, and let's get into the news. And in today's top story, you may have noticed if you had your ad blocker off on YouTube that a company has been running advertisements day and night on most financial channels. It's a website called etnlosses.com, and they've been running nonstop. Investors that suffered a significant financial loss related to an investment in XIV ETNs on February 5th and 6th, 2018 may have a legal claim. Additional, many retail investors may have been improperly placed in inverse XIV ETNs and may have legal recourse against their brokers. Let's examine that sentence for a second. They may have been improperly placed. That's a very sort of passive use of a verb. It's like, well, these people don't have their own minds, and they were just sort of placed. Someone put them there. Somebody put them in XIV, and that was improper. They shouldn't have put them there. Now, do you take responsibility for your own financial decisions? Or do you only take responsibility when you're making money? When you lose money, then you were placed there by a broker. It sounds a little bit ridiculous to me. We already have a bad name as people who trade to the short side in volatility, and stuff like this doesn't really help us a whole lot. If you lose money trading in the markets, you need to take responsibility for it, not blame someone else. I'm sure you're not actually going and giving out money when you make money, so why should you be blaming someone else when you lose it? In my opinion, this ETN had in its prospectus the risks involved. I looked at it that day on February 5th, and I said to myself, well, it's over $100. This thing could collapse to nothing if there's some sort of a crazy event. I don't want to buy a $100 stock and risk it collapsing to nothing. Buyer beware. I know that when I looked at my Fidelity account and was thinking about buying XIV, they made me go through all these hoops and saying, this is a special sort of investment. You have to be extra careful. Please read this extra paperwork, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. So anybody should have known what they were getting into with this. So, these guys, chasing after, it's kind of like they heard an ambulance roll by and they're chasing after the ambulance to see where the accident was. My dad, I remember when I first came, when I was on the trading floor, one of my friends brought the Reverend Jesse Jackson over to my pit. He was a family friend. And my dad just does not like Jesse Jackson and calls him an ambulance chaser. Well, that's what these guys are. And, once again, doesn't give us a very good name when people are trying to sue these guys for losses. We already have a bad name being short the VIX. Everyone thinks everyone's foolish who's short the VIX. And people come out of the work to say, I told you so, after February 5th. So this doesn't help us. On the positive side today, let's take a look at the VIX term structure. The VIX term structure today went in the right direction. I'm going to go to VIX Central here so we can take a look at it. After coming back into backwardation for a little bit last week, we now find ourselves, well, after hours, let's see what it says. It appears that it only shows us slightly in contango here. It only shows 0.92% contango. However, when at the time of the roll, we were around 2%. And what we're looking at now, when we look at the term structure, we want to be looking ahead to the April-May roll because that will become the front month in the middle of next week. Expirations next week. So that is healthiest it's been in a month at 2.32%. Now, 2.32% contango doesn't sound great compared with the averages last year. Last year, the average was around like 9%. However, we're still normalizing from that big event that happened February. So I think that we had a healthy week as far as the VIX went and the term structure. We noticed on up days that all parts of the structure moved upwards. If this had been mid-2017, if we gotten an up move in the VIX, you would have noticed only the front months moving and the back months pretty much staying still. But what we see now is this structure is very resistant from going back into backwardation. And even when we were in backwardation yesterday, technically for a little bit, what you saw was the curve just between M1 and M2, we were in backwardation, and the rest of the months looked like they do right now, which was a steady slope upward. So healthy curve means healthy decay, and we should see UVXY continue to decay and if not take out the all-time lows right away, we should see it take out $14 and then $13. We haven't been below $13 since the February 5th event, but we should see it take out $13 probably next week sometime, depending on what happens. What do we have to look forward to next week? Well, we've got Fed stuff coming up, and we're going to see about our rate raise next week. So, you know, there's always numbers and always stuff going on, but it has looked pretty good this last week, and I'm going to pull up the my Thinkorswim here, and that's going to take a second for me to pull up Thinkorswim, but through the magic of the internet, we will fast forward through that moment to get Thinkorswim up to you fast. For those of you who are stuck in the financial world, I just wanted to mention some general YouTube news. Drake, the rapper, went on to Twitch. I don't know if you folks follow Twitch. That's where gamers go to. Drake, the rapper, went on Twitch to a live stream with this guy Ninja yesterday, and they had 650,000 people watching this live stream of them playing a game all at the same time. 650,000 people watching them, which is the second biggest Twitch live stream ever. And apparently this guy Ninja had people signing up at $5 a month subscriptions. He had like 100,000 people sign up for $5 a month subscriptions. So crazy, crazy, crazy volume on Twitch. And like I said, a lot of financial people don't really follow other stuff on YouTube, but as a YouTuber, I sort of keep track of some of this stuff. So let's go ahead here. There is 180 day of the VIX, and you see us coming off that big spike and slowly moving down this hill. And, you know, can we go back to 10? We'll have to see. It looks like we are slowly moving lower, but it kind of remains to be seen. Let's go to the 180-day view of UVXY. You can see it just kind of moving down. And the low of 852, you know, we're at 14 now, so we're almost twice as high as the low. We are expecting to take out the low at some point in the future. The question is just when will we take the low out? There you have it, folks, for the short vol news for the week. The David Lincoln channel at 6,651 subscribers. Please subscribe. Tell your friends. We want to get up to 10,000 subscribers. Come on, if these other guys can have millions, we can at least get up to 10,000. Tell your friends and join the Short Vol Show and stay away from those lawyers, folks. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.